We're here in beautiful northeastern Ontario, not far from the Manitoba or Minnesota borders, and we're surrounded by Lake of the Woods. It's a massive lake that's very well known for its fantastic fishing. It's also very popular for houseboat rentals. There's a number of operators in this part of the lake alone, and they tell me that the vast majority of their clients, 80 to 90%, and some years even more, are American. So we're here in Sioux Narrows with our friends at Floating Lodges to find out what we Canadians are missing out on. There's a half dozen houseboat rental options in the Sioux Narrows area and many more elsewhere on the lake. Jim Rebetoy owns Floating Lodges. Originally from southwestern Ontario, he came to Sioux Narrows 40 years ago for a visit.
This was supposed to be your summer off town. Still here.
That was in 1975, and he was just planning to stay for a few months.
Still passing through town, just got bogged down for a couple of years. We bought Floating Lodges from somebody else. It was a two-boat business, and we just built it up from there. And we bought it in the fall of '78. Had one booking that year, and that guy still comes.
Now he owns his own armada, a dozen little fishing boats and 10 big houseboats. The most popular being around 40 feet long, and the largest, this triple-deck 60-footer.
What's really the best part here is it's a wilderness experience. If you want restaurants and stores, it's not the best trip. But if you just want to go out there and be left alone, nobody around you, have great fishing, great wilderness experience, this is the place.
You're out in the wilderness, but you're never on your own, as we discovered by hopping on a supply run. They'll come out if there's problems, but once a week they'll visit each of their boats to collect garbage and bring anything in short supply, from ice to bait. First stop was to see 4 buddies from Wisconsin celebrating a 50th birthday. Renting a 40-footer for the week, they found a prime spot to tie up. A secluded bay with a wide-open rock point and a fire pit.
I just came up for a great Canadian experience. I've been on this trip one other time. I told all my buddies that it was the best trip I've ever had. I've done a lot of different trips, from staying in cabins and doing fly-ins, and staying on this houseboat was the best trip I've ever had. It was so relaxing. You're always on the water. You never leave the water. It's easy on, easy off. It's just a great experience.
Just 2 weeks ago, Dave Green was on a 60-foot yacht. He says this doesn't compare.
And I'm having more fun on this houseboat than that. That was nerve-wracking. This thing's so easy. You've got ship-to-shore communications, no matter where you're at on the lake. It's just been great. I can't recommend it more.
But we couldn't stay all day, so off we went to find the next houseboat. We made our way from Chisholm Island northwest to Whiteout Island to meet a family of 10. Circling the island, we found them just as the clouds give way to the hot summer sun. This group also found a secluded bay, but instead of rock, they have a sandy, shallow beach, perfect for the 4 kids. Although very different from 4 fishing buddies, they represent the other main market for houseboat rentals, families. For this gang, it's a family tradition begun by Grandma and Grandpa years ago.
He and I stumbled onto it it had to be in the 1990s. 90 is maybe our first trip. And it was just myself and my children, and we kept on doing it year after year because it was a vacation we could afford. The kids loved it.
Joined by a close friend and her son, there are 3 generations on this trip.
We went to Florida a few times, but this was it. Like, we had so much fun, and all my memories come from here. So when I had kids, it was kind of one thing that we wanted to get back to.
With that, we decided to let this happy family get back to making memories. Coming up later in the show, a fishing guide shows us his favorite parts on and below Lake of the Woods, and I get behind the wheel of a 54-footer and see what it's like for myself.
This is a big boat.
When we left off on Lake of the Woods, we'd talked about the houseboat business and the fun you can have. Now it's time to experience it firsthand. The boats Jim and his team have custom built are well thought out. For example, there's a wheel and a throttle at the stern wired as if it were a bow. Turn to the left, you go to the left. You're not driving in reverse up here. And when you go to the other end and put it in gear, you're driving straight ahead after backing out with ease. The stern controls are one of 3 places you can pilot from, mostly for backing up. If the weather is good, it's nice to drive from the bow controls on the upper deck. The area around Sioux Narrows is home to a number of lodges, plenty of cabins, and some very nice waterfront homes, and well over 14,000 islands. In fact, if you included the shoreline of the entire lake and every island, we're talking more than 100,000 kilometers. That's more than double the length of the equator. It ranges from tight passes to wide bays to a wide open area, mostly in Minnesota, that's more than 50 kilometers across. All of this geographical excitement, I'm gonna need to sit down and check out the third piloting station. Anyone else think these islands are all starting to look the same? Thanks to the onboard GPS, my confusion doesn't last long, and we're back to the blistering top speed of just over 6 miles per hour. After about 2 hours underway, the end goal was in sight, a tiny island in a protected bay. And luckily, no other houseboat had claimed it today. Inching close to the hard rock, the ease of piloting gave way to a reminder of just how big a 54-foot boat is. But if you take it slow and let it drift onto the rock, you won't hurt anything, thanks in large part to the steel pontoons. Tied off and secure, it was time to settle in and enjoy being out in the wilderness. As the fire took hold, the sunset kicked into high gear, and Mother Nature did not disappoint. But it had to be an early night. Tomorrow morning is going to come fast. And it did too, but it's well worth it. At least I'm told it's going to be worth it. One of the most popular things to do on Lake of the Woods is houseboating, of course, but also fishing. And it's such a huge lake, where do you go? So what a lot of people do is hire a fishing guide, and that's what we've done. We found best in the business, Big John Stool Dryer. He's bringing us out here. It looks like we're in the middle of a wide open bay, but we're right above, what is it, a reef or a shelf? And this is a prime spot for walleye, I'm told.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what we can do, see if we can catch some lunch. Of course, it didn't take Big John very long to catch one. Or two, for that matter. Okay, seriously, dude, you're just showing off now. But finally, our hero gets on the board. There you go. My first walleye. After 15 years, John says his only regret is not doing this sooner. And he says you shouldn't make the same mistake.
It's never too late. Better get out here and enjoy some of the wilderness we have here. I mean, you can be out here, there's no cabins, no nothing. It's just, we don't even have boats around us. It's just a heck of a place to come out.
When our pelican neighbor took off, so did we. A short ride and we're headed for a shore lunch. Big John picks out one of his favorite of the 14,000 islands and beached his boat. In a matter of minutes, he's cleaned the walleye we caught less than an hour ago, and we're ready to cook. Potatoes and veg and some lightly battered fried walleye. This, I'm told, is a standard shore lunch with a guide. But because he owns Big John's Bar and Grill in town as well, his recipe may be a little better than most. The more I saw the lake, the more it amazed me just how massive it is. The Canadian area is so filled with islands and bays, it doesn't feel like one of the biggest lakes in the world, although it is. And on that biggest lake, we found one of the smallest islands to make our temporary home, but still, time to say goodbye. So we shoved off, checked the charts, and started heading back. I joke about the 6 miles per hour top speed, but these boats are very impressive. There's a full kitchen and lounge area. This is where the third piloting station is too. Multiple bedrooms, and of course, the giant upper deck. This truly is a floating vacation home. This is what boating life is all about. You find something to do on the water that can incorporate everyone. So if you haven't thought about it or you're looking for a unique vacation idea, you give houseboating a try.